Hey, so if you're wondering why I'm doing this intro thing for the actual episode, it's because this episode was really long and ended up having to be split into two parts. So in this first part, we talk about the end of the Western road trip, Vit Krejci, and the performances of the two-way players we currently have, Keaton Wallace and Daeqwon Plowden. And I mess up Daeqwon Plowden's last name a lot on this podcast, so sorry, Daquan, if you're listening to this, I apologize. I keep saying Powell for some reason. It's weird. And I ended up getting like everyone else confused too. And part two will be available as soon as possible in all your feeds as well. So hope you enjoy listening to part one. And we are beginning with it right now. Welcome to Hard Knock Hawks, everybody. I'm Anthony, along with Chris, Leon, and Marco. This is the pod where we like to talk about our favorite basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks. Today, we are going to be recapping the last week of games that we didn't cover, starting with the end of the yearly Western road trip where they won against the Utah Jazz thanks to one of the longest shots of Trae Young's career and lost against the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix by double digits. The Hawks then got their revenge against the Suns at home thanks to a season high 43 points from Trae Young and were able to keep their momentum going into Chicago, where the Hawks won by 16 points while being down Trae, Jalen, Hunter, and Zach. The Hawks are currently the 8th seed as of this recording, and the 14th ranked offense and the 18th ranked defense with a negative 1.1 net rating per cleaning the glass. The Hawks have played 40 games so far, and we're basically at the halfway point of the season. So I'm going to go to you, Leon, first. What are your thoughts on how the Hawks have handled this Western road trip?
I think they did as best they could with the personnel that they had available. West Coast road trips are notoriously tough for teams, especially those on the Far East. Uh, they probably could have won another game here or there, but when you're without Jalen for as many games as we were, as we know, it's hard for us to score in transition. It's hard for us to defend. It's hard for us to rebound, and those are the reasons that we're winning games when we're winning. So I think they did as good as they could have. Maybe one more game, going 3-3 would have been nice, but not not having to play the Rockets is probably a win in and of itself. What you think, Chris?
I mean, yeah, I didn't want to play the Rockets at all. We could just not play that game the rest of the year. It'd be great. But no, yeah, playing without Jalen was tough. I think there was an adjustment period. They kind of had to figure out some things, kind of reassess. Veet was kind of big coming in, playing some really important connective minutes. But yeah, Trae stepped up in the Jazz game, right? Gave you the 20 assists, hit the game winner. They go to Phoenix without Jalen, and they just kind of didn't have enough. But when they came back home, Trae hit him with the 40 ball, bro. And I mean, it's tough to beat 40 ball Trae. They got some pretty good. I think Okongwu had a 2020 game as well against Phoenix, right? So you got Trae going 40, Okongwu 2020. I feel like the Hawks probably gonna win most of those games, whether Jalen plays or not. Really, the crazy one for me was the Bulls game, where they didn't have anybody, and all these G leaguers came up and really were executing. They played composed. Yeah, this last stretch. It took a full team effort. Everybody kind of came up big at different times, and I think it was important for O to step up and beating these guys because Dre kind of wasn't getting the same matchups with Jalen out. There's some bigger defenders that can that are allowed to match up with him right now, and it's kind of slowed his scoring. But Trae picked up the slack. Double O 2020, and then what was Plowden and Keaton Wallace giving you 40, like 5 or something combined in that game, nearabouts. Like they just had some really, really great performances. I mean, this team's digging deep right now. I think that's kind of the vibes showing themselves, right? When you're getting these type of performances from everyone up and down the roster. Quinn's had faith in his guys. He hasn't been making big desperation rotation changes. You know, he kind of tries to keep it as consistent as possible, and it's kind of paying off, right? They're on pace to be a 42-win team this year, right now, more or less, and they could get better down the stretch. So yeah, this has been great to see. Marco.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we didn't play the Rockets. I don't want to play the Rockets without Jalen at all. That's just if any team can actually run us out the gym, it's definitely them. So I don't think I want to play them without Jalen or fully healthy at that. Jazz game was cool. I hate that it came down to the wire like that, but Trey hit the game winner. You know, Trey doing Trey things on that. Suns games at home. I mean, The Suns games at Phoenix was going to be hard to play again without Jalen because they don't have to focus on Trey and Jalen. They shut down Dre. You know, Dre plays better when Jalen is in the game. So there's that on that. They come to our house. They haven't beat us in Atlanta since Mike Budenholzer was the coach. They haven't beat us in Atlanta since then. So luck and repetition was on our side that night, and Trey had also a big game, knowing he needed to step up. And Onyeka had a big game as well, doing 2020. Took advantage of Phoenix horrible center rotation. So I'm glad we did come out with some dubs. The trip could have came out way worse than it did, but hey, we pulled up some dubs. Even with Chicago last night, team fought hard. They wanted to win that game. You could tell those G League boys were ready to come up. They wanted to win that game. So been an actually good fun stretch of basketball lately, win or lose.
You know, I just realized when you mentioned that how long the Suns the last time like the Suns actually beat Atlanta in State Farm. Devin Booker has never won in Atlanta in his entire career, has he?
No, I don't think so. Actually,
Because
he's 28 now. So yeah,
that's
no.
that's crazy.
That's why he hates us.
Yeah, that's crazy to actually think about.
He
But
tried to talk mess after the
He
game.
ain't never
He
won a
said he
game
had
in front of his side chick, bro. This dude come to Atlanta over and over again and
That-
loses. That's horrible.
but I think that really is insane to just think about. But I think a lot of credit has to be given to Quinn Snyder. I harp on Quinn Snyder, and I'm not gonna lie, if we lost to Utah, this would have been an incredibly big rant about how much he's been like handling the rotations and stuff during that road trip, or like whether
Nah,
or
say
not.
it with your chest anyway, Ant. You've been loud in the group chat.
Listen, okay, I'll say it. Okay, not a part of me. I think he should play Risa Shea more in some places, not all the time, but in some places.
That's very fair.
And I do, especially like in some games, like during that Suns game when we were in Phoenix, where I think Risa Shea, yeah, he wasn't good offensively, but he was doing a decent enough job against Kevin Durant, and the defense was good when he was on the floor. Like, he was probably their best defender of that lineup, especially because he was helping make like Clint's job and Onyeka's job easier. It didn't really make sense to me like why he wasn't playing more in certain games, but it is what it is. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point, right? But maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's just the fan. I don't know. I don't see what goes on in like the plans and stuff. I know apparently there's a rumored minutes restriction with Risa Shea, and I don't know why. A part of me feels like it's kind of unnecessary. He's a few of these games, like he's only been playing 19 minutes, so it's like
It's for his long-term health. Anthony.
I get it. I get it. It's for his long-term health. But how about 3 more minutes? 3 more minutes? 5 more minutes? Is that really gonna be that detrimental?
Here's the thing, right?
Okay.
If there is a minutes restriction, right?
Yeah.
You want to steal some games where he's not going real high.
Yeah.
So that later in the season, because this team is essentially going to be in the playoffs at this point, they're on the track to be in the play-in at least. Like, you want Zach available in those games, so you don't want to burn him out just yet. Because there is a rookie wall that I think we like that phrase exists for a reason, and I think
Yeah.
you want to mitigate him hitting that. He had the short off season. I get wanting his defense out there. That's the thing. We've been so thirsty for defenders for so long, right? You're like, God damn, just leave him out there so we can someone to get a stop. But I think Quinn is honestly doing it's for the best, right? It's the greater good. But yeah, hopefully if this means Zach can play in the playoffs without getting like just running into a wall, that'd be great.
Yes,
But,
the rookie wall does exist. I promise it exists. Go ahead, Ant.
I was gonna say the main thing I want to praise Quinn for, and it's something that you've seen in these last few games, is this team is bought in a way that we haven't really seen other Hawks teams been like in like the past few years. And even if they're not like the top team in the East or something like that, the fact that they're still able to win these games like against the Bulls without like basically four of their top best players, it just shows you that they're just gonna be committed to win and committed to trying their best no matter what. And that's just credit to the coach, like who's just committed to who he committed them to this vision of what they want to do in the future, and they believe in him. And that's something I don't think you would have ever gone with like right now with like Lloyd Pierce or Nate McMillan, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to Quinn for that. And Landry, I think the Hawks DNA thing got laughed at, but I think this is the most connected group we've had in a long time. And I think Trey's game winner from half court was a really good example of that, right? Everyone swarmed him, then he dapped everybody up on the team, right? They've been connected on the court and like off the court. You see that they're vibing.
Yeah, because I mean, even if we're like the 8th seed, I mean, I'm looking at the scores right now. We could be the 7th seed if Indiana keeps this lead. But like these guys are just really, really happy to play with each other. They're just really happy, and they're just not gonna keep their heads down. They're playing hard. They want to win, and they don't care what the results are. It's like it's just long-term vision. I think that just makes me so optimistic to just see what's gonna happen in the future. Like I never really felt this way about the Hawks in like a good minute, honestly. But I think one player that I think is proof of that is Vit Krejci, who I'm gonna give you some stats. In the month of January, is averaging 12.3 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. That may not mean much, but he is shooting almost 50% from three in the month of January, which is pretty crazy considering that slow start he had in the beginning of the season. And he is getting closer to where he was from last year, where he was more of a 40% shooter near the end of the season. So I'm going to go to you, Marco. What are your thoughts on Vit so far this month?
Like I said, I've been saying this a lot. We needed some next man up guys and not the give Trey and Jalen the extra 5 minutes of the rest guys. And Vit has proven he's a next man up guy. In this last little stretch, he's finally found his shot back because I think a lot of people expected. Well, we all expected him to pick up where he left off last season, and that was good defense. And he was actually like scoring at will. He was doing his thing. Then you come in this season, he's kind of starting off slow. Defense isn't what we saw last year, and the shot wasn't really. So seeing V get back comfortable, I don't know what it really is. Maybe he just needed to get back used to this, or he just needed more burn or whatever. I don't know what the situation was for V. But seeing him get back on a consistent groove has been nice. He's not hesitating to shoot a three either. You can really tell from the beginning of the season he wasn't really looking to shoot the three, but now he's kind of actually wanting to shoot the three now. No hesitation. He's trying to score now. He's trying a little bit harder on defense, but I can't expect him to hold Bradley Beal or Devin Booker. That's unrealistic for me to expect him to that. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from Vit. I hope he keeps it up because we're definitely going to need it come playoffs because we're never fully healthy around playoffs. So hopefully, if we're gonna need them. And yeah, Chris, you want to go?
Yeah. I mean, I always love talking about Vit. Seeing his transformation from like complete total project to legitimate NBA rotation player at this point has been amazing to see. He was just a skinny dude with like a lot of feel that could make some passes at first, and they taught him how to play defense, and now they got him actually taking threes in games. It's been great to see, man. He's an unselfish player, and they've almost had to drill in the need to shoot into him. And now that he's there, I mean, he's been such a great piece for this team. Quinn Snyder is leaning on him a lot in a lot of these injuries. Whenever someone's out, he's basically just sticking Vit at the 2 or the 3, and letting it go. And Vit is such a great connective player that I think whenever he has other smart players to play off of, he can make it go. And yeah, it's been great to see, man. I really, when he got that deal, you were excited for him because like he was such a great vibes guy, but now he's like going out on the floor and kind of earning that money, and like he looks like he's going to be a really nice piece for this team. So yeah, just legitimately happy for him. And yeah, we really need him. That's a huge piece for this team. You can get a cheap guard that can play, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 offensively. And I mean, I saw him picking up Kevin Durant in that Suns win on some drives. So yeah, it's been, man, go Vit. That's what I'll say. Leon.
Yeah, make sure you invest in some Bitcoin. I bought the dip on the Bitcoin, and I'm up right now for real. I think early in the season, if you recall, he actually was hurt for a little while. So I think after he came back, on top of that, they had him playing a lot of actual backup point guard. If you recall, they really, when Kobe first went out, they were just like, all right, well, Vit's our backup point guard right now. And that wasn't great. As we've said many times, he's more so of the kind of player who he's a really good second side creator. I won't even say creator, but he's really good at extending advantages from the second side. So when he plays the 2 or the 3, whether he's playing off Trey or Keaton, or they've been doing a lot more of having Dyson play the point and have be the second side, that's his best role, right? And that's why you've seen him thrive in that role, because that's what he's best at. And they said it in the broadcast in the Chicago game. Point guard's not his natural position. He's more of a wing. And they can't remember. I don't think it was Tabitha, but whoever the sideline reporter was said that they talked to Vit about that, and he's happy to be back in a more natural role for him. On top of that, I do think he's healthy. I think he looks healthy. I think he had 2 blocks last night as well. So obviously he's got the little bounce he has back. So when you're 6'7", and lengthy, and you know how to play, it usually comes back around. Since the start of 2025, Vit is averaging 11, 4, and 4, 52% from the field, 47% from 3. So can't really argue with that. I mean, that kind of production in 27 minutes a game, it's good stuff. All right. So if he can keep it up, when Jalen comes back, that would be more than ideal. He's playing great basketball right now. Young-ish guy on a great deal. Can't argue. I mean, what is he? 20? He's 24 and a half. So they're going to get most of his prime, or his early prime, at what, $2-ish million a year, right? 2 to 3 every year. 2.3, 2.7, and 3 last year on the team option. That's good stuff. That's great stuff. What do you think, Ant? What have you seen from Mr. Krejci?
I mean, I basically agree with everything you said. He is basically our Czech army knife. He's just
boo.
How long have you been sitting on that?
No, yeah, I'm saying like. Oh man, I'm gonna look that up. What is a Czech army knife?
I just made that up.
Imagine our check
That was good. That was good.
check Army
is
knife and
check
Vit
Army
Krejci comes up. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Like you can just use him honestly.
I'm getting one of these.
But really, I mean, that's what he is. You can just use him for just so many situations, and now that his offense is really just starting to emerge, like he's that. This is why we signed him. Like he's becoming just more of a useful player every day now. Like if someone's out, put V in the starting lineup, especially if Reese Shade got injured or Dyson gets injured, like because we know V's a good defender. He's just a really useful player, especially as this tertiary passer, like you said. I mean, I when we initially signed Vit, I was just so happy to see him just be here as a Hawk, because just having, like I said, like just having a player like him is just so useful because of the utility he has. And I think him being able to scale up, I don't know if that's actually the right word for this, or
I mean, he kind of is scaling up a little bit. He is scaling up.
I mean, what his career averages was probably like 1-1-1. So.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have far to go to scale up. Yeah, but what he's doing right now is definitely like we were talking about. Vit was one of the guys we were talking about where everybody's kind of maxed up on their scale. It's like when you play any racing game and you kind of get in the red a little bit on the RPMs, and it's everybody's kind of stalling out. Vit's found a healthy medium where he's got a little booster, so
yeah,
he increased his max MPH. He used some points, increased his max miles per hour. It's 200 on a dash now for Vit Krejci.
What's your thoughts, Marco?
We're still on Vit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I bet it's basically said all I could about him. He's as long as he continues, this helps. Like I said, I've had my main issue this whole season has been depth and not really having the players I feel to help the depth. But Vit helps a lot if he can continue this uptick. We're bringing back my favorite word that Landry has said. Uptick.
Yes, the uptick. Yeah. Yes, sir.
No, we gotta knock on wood. We gotta knock on wood on uptick, man. Knock on wood on uptick for real.
Oh, no,
Let's
man.
go.
Last time somebody had an uptick. Hey, man. Last time somebody had an uptick,
Yeah, lost a knee.
Oh, I'm saying, he still ain't playing. You feel me? All right. What's all laughing at? Ain't shit funny?
Hey, man, that's crazy. Hey, look, man, since we're on them, I kind of wanted Bay back, but that's a different convo. We're on Vit.
All right, moving on. Next topic, please.
All right. Well, let's talk a bit about our two G League players who need to get more light, in my opinion. And it's Keaton Wallace and Daeqwon Plowden. I almost said Powell again, but that's okay. They were two key contributors to the Hawks win against the Bulls. Keaton Wallace scored a career high 27 points with 27 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 steals, and he led the team in deflections. And Daeqwon Powell, and he's probably more surprised than Keaton Wallace, honestly.
You literally said it again.
I did. Oh, Jesus.
It's all good.
Oh,
it's all good. We all make mistakes.
Daeqwon Plowden was a perfect 7 of 7 for the game before missing a corner 3. He went 7 of 8 and scored 19 points and was a +9 in the game. He was always a good shooter in the G League. He averaged 38% from 3 in his career, but College Park made him take a career high in attempts, and he still shot 37% from 3. And in the Bulls game, he shot 5 of 6 from 3. It was a key part of the reason why the Hawks won that game, because every time the Bulls basically was getting close, Daeqwon Plowden just shot 3 and he made it. I'll just ask Chris first. What are your thoughts on our 2 G League players? And my second question is too, should they be playing more?
I'll answer the second question now. Yes. What my thoughts on him are: Keaton. You could see in summer league that Keaton had like a good understanding of the game. Little brother of an NBA player. I feel like generally we like assume they're going to be able to play, right? But he moves like his brother. Honestly, didn't know that was his brother at first. I was just watching him defend, and it looked like Keaton Wallace defensively. They have the same build. So I love his prospects as a guard for us behind Trey. I think he kind of does everything you want a guy to do. He's a professional guard. I think he understands the game, really composed. The defense is there. He's willing to take the shots he needs to take in the flow of the offense. Right, he understands what his role is as the backup guard, and just get us into what we need to get into and take the shots he needs to take. Plowden has been just kind of out of nowhere. I'm not too a deep cut guy with the G League, so I mean honestly, some of those numbers were the first time I heard them. But I had kind of been following him ish through the tweets from the Skyhawks over the season, and he's been shooting the cover off the ball. So I was excited to see what a 6'6" guy that can jump and shoot can do for us, because that's like one of the things on my checklist was a run and jump guy that can shoot. And if we have one of those at home, that's great. So that's definitely in this season of seeing what we have in players and scaling up. Let's definitely see what we have and Plowden and scale him up. I think you have some decisions to make regarding Bogey in the next couple years. And as he gets older, the defense is obviously slipping. It wasn't his strength to begin with. So finding a shooter that can also play some defense or contribute some in the transition game, right? Plowden looks like he might be able to check a few boxes for us. So, yeah, it's exciting to have these G League guys come up and do what they did, man. Confidence is so important in this sport, and I think Plowden won't be afraid to shoot next game for sure. So get him out there and run it, Leon.
Hey man, we back, Hawks University. When you're building something from the ground up, it takes a little time, right? We're on year 2, full year 2 of Quinn Snyder. And the culture he's trying to set. So in year 2, you want to start seeing some early returns on stuff like really, really investing in the G League, right? So obviously you got Mo G still brewing down there, and you go get a guy like Keaton. He was hurt last season, actually. Came back right before Summer League, right? And played so well in Summer League, they gave him a contract before Summer League. They got him on the 2A before Summer League was over. Added Daeqwon Plowden like a couple weeks ago, like to the actual G League roster, and now he's on a 2A as well. Drafted Seth Lundy, cut him loose. It's all about, not holding on to guys too long, and replacing them with guys that you believe in. And, obviously, I mean, he hit his first one, and it's not like they didn't know who he was, because, the Bulls have a G League team too. I mean, I'm almost pretty sure Modest played against these guys before. So, because he spent a lot of time in the G League, especially in the
I think
middle
Modest actually dunked on Plowden in summer.
Yeah, I think he did.
Well, there you go.
So
there you go. I mean, and so it's not like they didn't have a scout on these guys, because they did, because they have a G League affiliate as well. They did, I'm sure, did a little homework on them. But it's different when you see guys up close and personal. And Keaton, like, you can call his spade. Like, Keaton really closed those guys last night. Like, the lead was never so far out that they couldn't come back. The Bulls never punted. But late in the game, it was him with the ball in his hands making stuff happen. Obviously, like you said, led the team in deflections last night in a game that Dyson Daniels did play in. That's impressive. And obviously, Daeqwon hitting every shot except for one at the end. But I mean, the hands were up. Like some of them were uncontested, but a lot of those shots were hand in your face shots. So it just speaks to what we're trying to build, the culture that we're trying to build here with Quinn and Midtown Landry. So, I'm just happy we got some guys all the way down to the bottom who are scrappy enough to come up and help us win a game when we needed it in a tough spot in the middle of the season. We're smack dab in the middle of the season, and you went and grabbed a couple guys out the G, and 46 points out of them. You can't ask for too much better than that, and great defense from pretty much both of them, especially Keaton. What about you, Marco, Roddy's pizza guy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brought him his double meat deluxe yesterday.
Hey,
yo,
Oh,
pause,
my God.
sir.
My goodness! Like call it the carnivore or
egregious.
something. Jesus.
But no, man.
He didn't even say meat lovers, and was still an AO. Good God.
I've been high on Keaton. I even said yesterday, if Hawks, it's a fine line for me for Keaton. If you can't find a backup point guard, you have Keaton. Keaton is good enough for the role we have and the points, for the minutes we have available right now for that backup point guard role. But you also shouldn't let Keaton stop you from going to find another point guard, because even having Keaton on the roster as your third guard is still not bad. Plus, as of right now, you can't carry Keaton into the postseason. They're not allowed to play postseason. So, but Keaton's fire. I love Keaton. Him being Kayson's brother as well, and I wanted Kayson on his team. I got something out of it. I got a Wallace. Got one.
I'm leaving here with something.
I'm leaving here with something. I got a Wallace, and he's just as good as the other Wallace. A little bit as good as the other Wallace. So hey, he's doing what he can do. He's scoring. Keaton's always been fine on offense. I think his main role in G League or development plan in G League right now is to learning how to run in offense, because that's kind of his weakness right now. But if you need somebody to go out there and give you some buckets, he'll get you buckets. Trust me, he's going to get you buckets. He doesn't hesitate to shoot the three. He doesn't hesitate to drive. He was getting to his spots. He's fine. He's comfortable with that. And he's good on defense too. This is what Trent Forrest thought he was on both sides. So I'm glad, Keaton is doing his thing. I'm glad Keaton is doing his thing. He's hooping. That's all I need him to do. And I'm impressed with him. Now, before I say his name wrong, because Ant actually has thrown me off, it is Plowden, right?
Plowden. Plowden.
Ant did throw me off a little bit, but it is Plowden.
It's not Powell. Plowden.
You said now. I didn't even say the wrong name first. You
just
went
say
straight for the wrong
just say
name.
Daeqwon. Just say Daeqwon.
Daeqwon is a very memeish name, but we're gonna say Daeqwon.
Or just say Quan.
Yeah. Look, Plowden anyway was
Rich Holman.
Hey man, he had a pretty jumper, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, he shot. I almost cussed.
He was shooting.
He said, "Yeah, no hesitation. He didn't care who was running down or whatever. It was straight buckets, and they saw something in him because he was in G League. He had multiple games where he was scoring like 20 plus. He was on a streak of scoring 20 plus along with Barlow and a few others. So they saw something. They was like, hey, why are we keeping Lundy on? No diss to Lundy, because I wanted Lundy to play out too, because I was a 3-and-D wing, and he hit a couple game winners last year for us as well. Pretty sure he hit. Was it this season? No, he hit a couple game winners last year as well. He plays solid defense. I wanted Lundy to pan out, but ankle injuries. I don't know the extent of the ankle injury, but apparently it was serious for him to miss a lot of time that he was missing. So it's good to see that Plowden stepped up. He shot the ball. He scored confidently. He moved without the ball like really well. The little backdoor cut he had when OO was at the was near the hole, dumped it off to him. Bam! He knew what spot he needed to be in, because they tried to blitz Vit and Bogey a few times, and he knew what spot he needed to be in right there. Bam! Open three. So Bulls wanted to lose. Because Bulls wanted to lose. There's no way you just let, our G League team come in there and walk you down. Since the Falcons didn't want to use this quote again, walk in your trap, take over your trap. Because we did that. We did it with the G Leaguers. we did that with the G League. So I was I'm happy with how they performed. They're hungry. I do hope we can get at least one of them on a full contract soon, very soon.
Cody Zeller.
Yeah, hopefully we can
Yeah,
get Cody.
Cody Zeller. He needs to go. Please, they gotta find out something.
Hopefully we can get Cody off this roster to free that spot up for Keaton. Hopefully we can get Roddy off this roster to free up that for Plowden.
But then how is he gonna be able to afford the pizza that you brought him?
Hey man, Little Caesars has a $5 hot and ready, and he's most likely going to eat it hot and ready. So he's not waiting till he gets home. So hey, that $5 eventually adds up. But then you can go to the 99-cent Tombstone pizzas in the frozen section. That's just how you got to rock.
Right.
But yeah, man. Hopefully we can get. I prefer both of those guys on a full contract. Seeing them gives me more hope for Barlow because you already know I'm high on Barlow as well. So I'm hoping Barlow has that one game where he can show out for us, and people will see what I see in Barlow.
My thing is with this, with Plowden and Keaton Wallace is thank you. I did pronounce his name right finally. Why weren't these guys on the Western road trip? Like, legitimately. I just don't I don't get it. I really don't. Because, like, if let's say I don't expect Plowden to make literally every single one of his threes. But I think having that kind of shooting would have helped a lot for this team, especially with how not good the shooting has been recently, especially with Bogey just coming back from an injury and trying to get through the slump, and Keaton Wallace being a backup point guard when we really don't have one, and when the point guard play without Trey has been really just up and down. Like, it's frustrating to me, but at the same time, they only can play like 50 games. So I get it. They probably just want to save him for like the second half of the season. But at the same time, I'm just like, these guys are NBA players. I think maybe. I don't know. I mean,
technically, Plowden can just play the rest of the season.
Yeah, he probably can.
Keaton, they gotta wait like probably a few weeks, and then he could play the rest
or
of
like
the
pick
season.
And choose.
Yeah,
pick your spot.
They have to. But
bring him up
has
in tough spots.
enough.
Yeah, Plowden can play wherever.
49 left.
I will say that it is not lost on me that after a number of games against Western Conference teams, all of a sudden, against an Eastern Conference team, we see G Leaguers come up. Ooh, hold on. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So like, full disclosure, you can't show Western Conference teams that you may or may not be in talks with about certain players that they're doing so bad, we finna bring G Leaguers to the West Coast trip with us. Certain players from Serbia who aren't exactly playing their best basketball right now. We tried to give certain players from Serbia an opportunity in the Western Coast road trip to show some teams what he could do. But certain players from Serbia didn't do great in those games. I think he had one game where he was fairly good. Other than that, he's quite bad on the West Coast road trip. But also, I think with Keaton, it's just more so if you're going to use him, you want to use him down the stretch. He's already played. He's on 17 games as of now.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Got 33 games left. Daeqwon just got a two-way, a month ago? Tops? Like, not even?
Yeah, he just got a two-way, yeah.
So, and then you don't want, because this would, I don't even think Quan's played an NBA game.
Yeah, this is his first game.
It was his NBA debut. I don't know if I want his NBA debut to be against like James Harden,
Or yeah, that won't be so
And-
good.
or Nikola Jokic and Russell Westbrook and Michael Porter Jr. and
Kevin
or
Durant and Devin
LeBron,
Booker.
yes,
and Bradley
or
Beal.
But I
LeBron
mean,
James and
you
Anthony.
never
Davis.
know. But to be fair, you never know. I mean, he could be good.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
I
And
get
I'm
what you're
telling-
saying, though.
And I'm not telling you that they wouldn't have helped us in those games. However, I do think that it's important to show confidence in the players that you do have rostered, not just the Serb, but Zach and Dre. Like
Yeah,
Zach and Dre played in those games.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But now, we played again tonight. We played without Jalen and Zach and Dre and Trey.
And I do agree that the Bulls was a good choice. That team
That
just
was amazing.
mentally is kind of weak, and they're young, and they were
Obviously trying to lose, despite how talented the actual team is.
There's that too. I feel like our guys came out and just kind of were like, "We're gonna win this game," and the Bulls were like, "Okay,
Okay,
they just
sure,
kinda-
why not?
Yeah, they
everybody
came out aggressive. And,
Everybody but Kobe White was okay with losing last
mhm,
night.
Yeah, and we played some guys that our guys were way hungrier than that team, and it showed.
Yeah, they wanted it. We were going out there to have fun. Meanwhile, the Bulls were out there mentally in their head.
Yeah.
I mean, they just like Torrey Craig groin, Megan Thee Stallion, so.
Hey, I'll have to be calling out of work too, man.
Yay, you.
Hey, you play right, he can retire. Honestly, she making more money than him. I'll be done. Well,
Making more money than him for who?
And that is the end of part 1. So part 2 should be available in your feeds. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you then.